Hi. It's been a little longer than normal between the time that I put out the last video and this video, and there are reasons behind that. I was going to make a video explaining all that, but that's put on the back burner, if not completely canceled. I was on YouTube just, minding other people's business, because that's what we do when we're on YouTube. And I stumbled across this video, well, not stumbled, I'm subscribed to this channel, and there was a video with a topic that has been relatively controversial for pretty much the entire time that I've been doing any of this creative stuff. Since the recent consolidation of everything that I do on my own, I'm pretty much looking always for some content to create, and this one has a couple purposes. What this is going to be, I'm going to do a mini-series, which could potentially turn into its own series, basically a Y series. But these 2 or 3 videos I haven't figured out. Well, this is just the intro video, so these videos are going to be specifically about things, but they're all going to reference my interaction with this particular channel today. So just a quick update on how I got here, because I clearly don't have a bunch of subscribers, but you might be watching this video from my subscription list. You might be watching this video because you came across it on the Rise podcast. You may be watching this video because you came across it from Tombstone the Dead Man. You may be watching this video because you came across it from Abby's Game Room. You may be watching this video because you came across it from Jaded Nerd's YouTube channel. You may be coming across this video because you saw it on the Black Culture Geeks podcast. Whatever the case may be, all of the creative endeavors that I had a part in creating or have helped influence, helped shape with my partners in multi-world entertainment. You might not know me. I get it. I'm a very opinionated person. It's just who I am. A few years ago, I decided that I was going to start combining my creativity with me being so opinionated, and I was going to make a YouTube channel. One of the things about me is that I'm really stubborn, and when I make my mind up that I'm going to do something, I pretty much pull out all the stops that I know in an effort to go ahead and go do that thing. So in this instance, it was, what can I do to get on YouTube and make videos that I want to make, period. That was the goal. So I started this channel, and I believe at the time I called it SPJ Says or something like that. And that was a thing. There was sporadic videos here and there that kind of follow me to this point, even still. But there were sporadic videos here and there, and I met up with some other YouTubers that were trying to get their names off the ground. Enter Jaded Nerd. Now, I'll complete backstory is way too long for me to put into this video. It's probably going to be a longer one anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead a little bit. So I met a Jaded Nerd, and we dove into this YouTube stuff head first. We were following the people who were teaching how to do YouTube and all this good stuff. So we're doing all that. We're up, when I say almost every day, literally on Google Hangouts almost every day for 2-3 hours, talking about strategy, talking about what we were going to do, how we were going to do it, and all this other stuff. One of the things that I ran across that a lot of people kept saying was pretty much the consensus is that you needed a niche. And it still, to this day, is the case. That's a part of the reason why my joke in my trailer, my channel trailer, is what it is, because the whole niche thing, niche. So at that point in time, I decided, all right, cool. That's what we're going to do. We're going to get a niche. So what was something that I knew that I could consistently talk about and knew that I was pretty much guaranteed not to lose my interest in? Well, that was nerd culture and geek culture. two cultures that are closely related that I happen to belong to. So what did I do? I rebranded my channel to be NAG District, Nerds and Geeks District, or NAG District. Now these things just don't happen, so I knew I had a lot of work to do. So what did I do? I went straight to work. I jumped into a bunch of different Facebook groups for nerds, all types of Facebook groups, and I learned. I was watching and seeing how things were being handled and all that, and eventually I started my own group. And I saw the things that were going wrong with some of these groups, and I reverse engineered to try to make my group the better group. And it worked to a degree. It wasn't the biggest group ever by any means. I didn't work at it for that long. But we got into the hundreds, and I had a group of administrators, and we were doing our thing. It was working, and that was all great. I combined that with the channel. Again, the channel was NAG District, and was doing that, and I had a blog, and the blog was getting numbers and all that other good stuff. All that was amazing. Then I ran into a problem. Some people would call it a problem. For me, it was bound to happen. See, when I was a child, I was diagnosed with ADHD, and one of the things about that is that I have many interests that I feel like I have to itch all the time, which is why I do so much stuff, with one of the reasons. And it crept up. I've always been a writer. Always been a writer. Never really too keen about letting people see my stuff though. One of the groups I came across while I was doing this mass group joining was the Reaper Life Comic Book Multiverse group. That's where I met Tombstone the Dead Man, or Landon. Again, not gonna go into the whole backstory. That would be a long story. But I decided that I was going to scratch my itch of writing. I started working on a comic book a little while ago, and a couple things happened and kept happening to derail that. So I decided I was going to do it again, and I asked him if I can post in his group about finding someone to help me write a comic book. Fast forward, because again, details. We ended up hitting it off. Now, he was really into creating content as well, like really into it. And he had been looking for a way to up his game. One of the ways that he figured would help was improving his gear. Now, when he decided he was going to do that, he was telling me about it, and his argument was so convincing that I couldn't refute it in any way, shape, or form. It made sense. I was doing YouTube, so it made sense for me to have an actual camera. On top of that, I had always loved snapping pictures of people. I would always be the one at the family get-togethers, running around with my phone, snapping pictures of people. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'll get this camera for my YouTube videos, and on the side, I'll learn the whole photography part of it. And what's the worst that could happen? The worst could and did happen. I ended up neglecting NAG District as a brand. There were several reasons behind that. Not gonna get into all of them. Not necessary. The point is, I was introduced to something new, which was the photography side of things, and a little more of the videography side of things. And I went into it the same way I went into starting a YouTube channel. And my research began. I jumped into it. I started following the Peter McKinnons. I followed the Casey Neistats. I followed the Tony and Chelsea Northrops. I followed the Pro Knows Best. Can't remember his name right now off the top of my head. I have a terrible memory, and I'm doing this all from my head. So that guy, followed him. Followed Mango Street. I followed quite a few other photographers, videographers, all that other type of stuff. Some people that were doing YouTube, some people that were doing photography, all these things I followed because I wanted to get as much information as I possibly could. There were probably 20, 25 channels in total. My subscription list was vastly about learning about photography specifically, learning about videography specifically, learning about you making YouTube videos specifically, learning all of these other things and mixtures of the three and all that other good stuff. My goal was never to be YouTube famous. My goal is never to be famous. I'll get into that in a different video. Fast forward to today, all of the goals that I had for that time have been accomplished. I learned how to make YouTube videos. I learned all the thumbnails, and you gotta do the hashtags, and you gotta do the titling right, and you have to do this, and you have to do that. I learned how to take pictures with my camera. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see some of my work. I'm not even gonna put it up here because that's not what this is really about. I learned best practices for video recording. I learned the different techniques that go into what you have to do to light a video and how you get the sound right and how you get the best quality out of your photos, your videos. I learned all of that. Now that list of 25 or so channels that I was following when I was beginning to learn all of these things has dwindled tremendously. Some of them I stopped following because they're super snobby. Some of them I stopped following because they're super condescending. Some of them I stopped following because they kept pushing this idea that you absolutely had to have the best gear that is available on the market, and if you did not, then your work would always be inferior. Out of that list, specifically the ones that I named, Jared Polin is his name. Jared Polin is a little bit on the high end. As far as the people that I kept, he's the closest to the gear guy, but he's not really that. But Jared Polin, Peter McKinnon, Mango Street, those are the three pretty much that survived that initial wave of YouTube photography and videography channels that I was learning from. These three channels made what I was trying to do look effortless, while at the same time never failing to explain how much work had to be put in to achieve these things that you wanted to achieve. And I absolutely loved the channels. Absolutely, 1000%. But, you know, they say, never meet your heroes. As I alluded to earlier, today I had an interesting interaction with the Mango Street YouTube channel. And it inspired this video and this series that I'm about to do. Again, a Y series. But the first three, which may end up being the only three, because you guys know how I do it on my channel. I'm not searching, I'm not chasing YouTube fame, so it is what it is. But it gave me inspiration, and that's where these three videos are going to come from. So the next video that I'll be uploading is a video addressing the does gear matter question, the conversation that has been going on since I've known about creative gear. So that's where we are. Appreciate you guys for listening, and hopefully I'll see you on that other video.